If you asked me 22 years ago when I started in dentistry, it would look nothing like what it is today. If you asked me 15 years ago, I had a different goal than I have today. If you ask me today, I have very different goals than I had just even, 6 months ago, a year ago. Self-development is first and foremost about understanding yourself. We've been misled to believe that dentistry, more specifically the dental business, has to be complicated. Dentistry can be simple, and dentistry should be simple. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of the Dentistry Made Simple podcast. I'm your host, T-Bone, and here we are another week without Meredith. And you're probably noticing I'm wearing the same pink shirt if you're watching this on video, but if you're listening, I'm wearing the same pink shirt. That's because I recorded 4 podcasts here today. And that's how we make the best use of our time, is we have what we call batch recording, where we record multiple episodes in a single setting. Now, this week, I'm going to talk to you about the number one trait of successful dentists. Now, many of us want to be successful and desire to be successful, and we're focused on being successful. I know that because you're an avid listener to our podcast and probably many other lesser podcasts than mine. I'm just kidding, but lesser podcasts than mine, of course. And here's what I would tell you is the number one trait that I find amongst most successful dentists, and that's their level of engagement. Engagement can be described as your enthusiasm, as your dedication towards your craft. And this week, I want to talk to you about the 3 ways that we work on and that I work on in increasing engagement in my life, especially for my career. So what does that look like? Well, the 3 areas that I'm going to talk to you about today is engagement in self-development, building myself, engagement in team development, building others, and engagement in my clinical development or my skill set. What does engagement look like? Engagement to me is when someone is always in it. That doesn't mean that you put work before family or before life, but that you're in it, that you're constantly seeking out, you're curious, you're seeking out information, you're not waiting for it to come to you, you're very proactive in trying to get this. You're engaged, you're asking people questions, you're constantly, looking for the next answer or another answer or a different answer, or you're looking for learning consistently or constantly. You know those employees or those team members in your practice who are engaged in getting better versus those that are there to clock in and clock out. So, engagement is a critical aspect of success in any business, and certainly in the dental business as well. So let's talk about self-engagement and self-development. Really for me, this is about leadership skills. And to me, leadership is simply influence. How do you influence others? How do you influence yourself? How do you think? And to me, leadership is developing myself of what it is I want to be. If you asked me 22 years ago when I started in dentistry, it would look nothing like what it is today. If you asked me 15 years ago, I had a different goal than I have today. If you ask me today, I have very different goals than I had just even, 6 months ago, a year ago. Self-development is first and foremost about understanding yourself and getting very clear about what you're trying to become, what you want yourself to look like, and what you want to be known for. And so much of that is leadership. It's leadership of yourself and just getting calm. It could be as deep as learning to get therapy so that you can be, calmer in what you do and more in tune with yourself. Maybe you have anger issues like I suffer from, and you want to, learn to calm that down so that you can be a better boss to people. You can be a better family person. Self-development is so important because, while we do spend a lot of time at the office, we don't spend the majority of our time there. And so we have to learn to be better people if we want to be our best selves at work. And the side benefit is you'll be a better self not at work as well. So that's about leadership skills and getting in tune with yourself. So again, this week we're talking about the number one trait of successful dentists, and that's engagement. Engagement can be described as your dedication and your enthusiasm for your craft. We're going to talk about self-development, team development, and clinical development. I just covered self-development, and let's talk about team development. You know, here's the truth. My practice grew to about $800,000, $900,000, and it was totally dependent on me. I thought I was doing great, but now we're upwards of past $3 million, and it's so dependent on everyone else. And the mindset shift there was I poured into my team members. Now, I want to be very clear. You can't pour into team members until you pour into yourself. That's why self-development was first. You got to pour into your team members. You know, what does engagement to me with team members look like? Are you talking to them on a regular basis? Are you coaching them? Are you asking how they're doing? Are you asking how they're doing things in your practice? Are you role playing? Are you asking how their life is? You know, are they coming to you? Are they engaged? You know, you can only engage in somebody so much before you realize they're not engaging back. And so you got to be, you know, you've got to engage first and then expect engagement afterwards. And to me, engaging in your team and building your team and developing champions and building great habits is so, so important to having amazing outcomes in your practice. So this week, again, we're talking about the number one trait of successful dentists, that's engagement, the enthusiasm or dedication to your craft. We've talked about self-development. We've talked about team development. Now let's talk about clinical development. Now, this is an area most of us spend a lot of time on, but I will argue that it's one of the least important aspects of engagement. Because no matter how many great clinical skills you have, no matter how great of a clinical dentist you are, if you're not clear about yourself and if you're not bringing on a great team, you're only going to get so far. That's why I believe clinical development is important, but it's the last thing or the least important thing that you should be focused on. And frankly speaking, because we focus on it, because we're kind of trained to focus on clinical development from our time in dental school, from the study clubs we join, you know, engagement. And what does engagement to me look like clinically? It means like, are you hanging out with other like-minded dentists? You know, iron sharpens iron. You know, are you hanging out with dentists that are doing the type of dentistry you want to do, that are trying to build the type of practice you want to build? Are you learning new skills? Are you diving deeper into your new skills? You know, one of the things that I noticed about my career is that the first decade of my career, I learned a new skill every year. The last decade of my career, I've gone deeper and deeper into dental implants, learning a deeper and deeper way of doing dental implants and leveraging technology. You know, self-development or clinical development may be technology as well. Your ability to use technology. Clinical development may be, you know, having technology in your practice. So I want you to think about this as you're driving to work, maybe taking a walk, doing some exercise, you know, probably sleeping when you're listening to this, are you engaged in your work? Are you engaged in your career? Could you put more into your career to get more out of your career? And that doesn't always mean more time. It just means more intention, being more intentional and more connected with that time that you're given. Because I don't spend any more time in my work. In fact, I spend less time in my work than ever. But when I am in that time, when I am in that mode of work, I am more and more engaged with what I'm doing. And that's why we're getting the results that we're getting. And that's how so many of the dentists around us, around 3D dentists, are getting the results they're getting. So look, if you want to change your practice, change your life, change the way you do things, if you want to engage with a group of like-minded individuals, look, we'd love to invite you to hang out at 3D Dentist. The best way to get started is with our 3D Mastermind. It's a 6-month coaching program where myself and Dr. Sully Sullivan work individually with you and as a group with about 12 to 15 dentists to help you change the way you practice dentistry, to take back control of your practice. It's an application-only event. We'd love for you to apply. We're taking applications for 2023 right now. So visit our website, 3d-dentist.com, click the Apply Now button, and join us for the 3D Mastermind. I promise you won't look back and you will not regret it.